Alright, so this is the first porn review I'm gonna do where I'm just gonna I guess, talk to the camera and not do any punchlines or jokes or anything like that. So this is your pledge, your porn review pledge, Robert Gold. Today I'll be reviewing Space Sluts Get Fucked Hard by Big Dick Riley Reed Wednesday Parker. Maybe Wednesday Parker is the name of the male actor in this film. Um, I think. Let me look that up. Hold on one second. So we know who Riley Reed is because she's the um, famous porn star who I know that Pledge Master Hernandez told me to review. Okay, so I guess. Okay. Wednesday Parker is another porn actress. So she's another woman who appears in this film. I'm gonna be honest. It's 5 minutes and 14 seconds. Um, I This is not a joke. It might be kind of funny, but I don't. It doesn't take me 5 minutes and 14 seconds to jerk off. I might go through like to the best parts of a 5 minute and 14-second video. Usually, masturbating for me doesn't need to be like this whole long endeavor. So I'll just skip to the parts I like. Maybe like the cum shot at the very end. Then I'll maybe skip back a little bit to the middle to like where they're like doing like a nice like anal from like a good shot. I like a lot of doggy style. This film is a little bit weird because, well, not weird, but it has like actually a decent budget. Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's saying a lot for a porno film nowadays. Okay, so a little bit of history on. Okay, a little bit of history on the world of pornography. Okay, since I'm a history major, I'll give you a little. Okay, so pornography when it became really big in the 50s and the 60s with Hustler and Playboy, right? It used to be like very tasteful, and they actually did used to put like a lot of money. These pornography used to actually have a decent budget. So to see a film called Space Sluts Get Fucked Hard by Big Cock Riley Reed and Wednesday Parker, they got two notable porn actresses. They all dressed up as space sluts. If you watch the actual film, there's a lot of exterior shots. Like they went out actually like onto a real shooting location, filmed it. So you just don't find a lot of pornographies that are done like this these days. Now they obviously put money into costumes, into professional cameras. A lot of porn is like it's like amateur porn these days. It looks like it's basically like YouTube, only it's a pornography site. Like people are just uploading their own stuff, and you'll jerk off to that just as much as you'll jerk off to like a Brazzers.com film. I don't know. Actually, I do know how the porn industry still makes money. It's a lot of advertisements, like they're selling dildos and sex simulator, app games and stuff like or dick pills. I don't know if they actually work. I've never bought anything off of a porn site. Oh, a lot of money. I did spend money on this one time. There's webcams. You can do the webcam stuff, and actually, when you pay for the webcam, you can request that women will do certain things, right? Um, and so I have paid for the webcams. Like, you want to go into a gold show where women do like a private show, and you can interact with them, and you could be type. It's kind of cool. I mean, for the most, you might spend like $3, $4, and then all of a sudden you can interact with like a real porn star. I've had female friends who have done webcam porn. A couple of my ex girlfriends, my last ex girlfriend that we broke up in July, her name's Lavana. She did webcamming. I don't think during the time that we were together, but she used to do that for money. I have a friend who goes to Santa Cruz. She just transferred the same time I did from the same junior college, and she has slept with a professor already. Very impressive. She's only been at Santa Cruz for a month. She met this guy on Tinder, and she is going back to webcamming. She's a broke college student, now she's webcamming again. A lot of girls do it. A lot of same girls who say they've never watched porn in their lives, they're doing webcamming. Not only do they say they're lying about not watching porn, they do porn. I'm like skipping through this whole 5 minute and 14-second video. There's actually no sex in the entire thing. Oh, okay. So this is just like supposed to be like a trailer, I guess, for the. It's a 5 minute and 14-second trailer. Okay, and then there's a um advertisement for Better Than Viagra. E.D. Caused by excess. I could just say ED, but it's saying better. It's an advertisement after the video ends by Traffic Junkie. It's called Better Than Viagra. ED caused by excessive porn you can easily fix by doing this. Oh, it's like fucking like one of those pocket pussies, but it looks like just looks like the guy's fucking a grapefruit or something like that. Anyway, there's no sex in this actual video. It's a lot of girls making out. It's like I said, it's a good budget for like a porno film. Here, just listen to the beginning. I'll like have it playing in the background while I'm still on the camera. And this, I guess, this movie was originally it's posted on readmylips.com. So it's Riley Reid. So it's ReidMyLips. So it's Read My Lips, but it's spelled with like Riley Reid instead of the word read.
After escaping the clutches of the wicked Captain Bean, the space lads have touched down on an uncharted planet and are being hunted by the evil Star Army. Stay tuned for this episode of Space Sluts.
Okay, so yeah, just to reinforce my last point, I guess before I sign off this video, is that back in the 60s, okay, so back in the 50s and the 60s when Hustler and, okay, so if any of you guys have never seen the movie Larry Flint, The People versus Larry Flint, there's this man who started Hustler who was, it was so controversial what he was doing for his time period, which was putting out a pornographic magazine, that someone tried to assassinate him, and a sniper shot him. The CEO of a porn company, a porn magazine, shot him in the back, and it hit him in the back, and it paralyzed him for the rest of his life. And okay, so years later, after his paralyzation, he had a case before the Supreme Court. That's where the title of the movie comes from, called The People vs. Larry Flint. And so Larry Flint is played by Woody Harrelson, and then his lawyer is played by Edward Norton. And Edward Norton makes a strong case for the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. It's actually very beautiful. I could get emotional just talking about it, but it's a strong case for the First Amendment and why pornography is actually so important in this country, because it represents the best of our values of freedom, of liberation. That's why a lot of porn stars actually are more libertarian, center-right leaning, not conservatives, more center-right leaning and libertarians, because it's an industry that like gets a lot of flack from conservatives, from liberals, because liberals say that it's misogynistic, conservatives say that it's antithetical to their religious belief system. So it gets flack from from both sides of the aisle, and it wasn't really until the I would say like the 80s, or maybe more like the 90s, when like you started to see more stuff like even maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, when pornography, like the professional pornography film market, started to decline. There used to be porn theaters. I think some of them are still out there. There used to be porn um, video shops where it was just all pornographic films. You'll still see them, so you've probably driven by them before. But that's an entire era of the United States. I mean, our era of American history that's gone, because you used to go to a drive-in movie theater. You could watch like an hour and a half, 2 hour XXX rated film, like you'd be in a drive-in movie theater, like the same way that you would see Grease, or I don't know, see Star Wars, or see any of these 1970s like classic drive-in films. Like there were pornography films that had $1 million budgets, sometimes $2 or $3 million. But this is going back to the the 70s and the sometimes the 80s. These are professional actresses who did real films, who then went on and did XXX pornography films. So it's like there's a movie called Caligula that was made in 1979 with the main character Caligula is played by Malcolm McDowell, the same actor who played in Clockwork Orange. And Tiberius's grandfather is played by Peter O'Toole, who played the king of Troy in that famous movie Troy with Brad Pitt and Eric Bana and Orlando Bloom. and Brian Cox. Brian Cox plays King Armageddon, the King of the Greeks, and of course um, Brad Pitt plays Achilles, and then Orlando Bloom plays Paris, um, and then Eric Bana plays Hector. Okay, so what was I saying? Okay, so this movie Caligula is a pornographical film where you see like it's intercut with scenes of like people masturbating, like actual penises ejaculating and stuff like that. But it's a real good film. It's like actually just made like a you'd be watching Star Wars and then you see an actual scene of and Harrison Ford and what's her name, Carrie Fisher having actual, not simulated sex like they do in movies now, but real sex. This is films in the United States, in America. It still happens today in Europe because they're still much more progressive. But isn't it interesting that we've become actually not less progressive, but it's just it would seem like we become less progressive because those films are considered less like less like common. But in the 60s and the 70s, it wasn't like the reason we've gone backwards in our progress is not because we're less open to those kinds of films. It's just because those films aren't as popular anymore. Because the only reason people were going to see them in the theaters was because they were like it was essentially getting to watch porn, right? And you didn't have the internet to just go watch thousands, if not millions, of videos. So I'm sure today, if like there was a booming market for these kinds of like professionally made porno films, we'd see more XXX rated films, and it'd be like you'd watch like a whole Roman history film or a Civil War film or like another what is like looks like a Star Wars sequel, but it would be like there'd be intercut with scenes of the actual characters when they were having romantic flings. They'd actually be having sex. So anyway, you could do your own research. The porn industry is incredibly like fascinating and interesting. I mean, really, this video could be titled just like, we kind of got off. So I'm doing a review of Space Sluts Get Fucked Hard by Big Cock Riley Reid and Wednesday Parker, but it is essentially the greater picture that I'm building for you is that this film represents part of like porn noir in a sense of what this country came from and where the history of pornography came from. Of course, pornography's been around for thousands of years at like weddings and stuff like that. Like if you go back to like old samurai times, like in medieval Japan, you'd have like people getting like scrolls of like actual people having sex, but those were more for educational purposes. So pornography in the United States was sort of mainstreamed in the, like I said, 50s and the 60s with guys like Larry Flint and Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner, I think, started in the 60s. Hustler is a lot dirtier than Playboy. Playboy is a lot more tasteful. Like this film might be considered more, I don't know, more hustler. It's not. It's meant to just kind of be funny and just be just kind of like silly. Whereas like Playboy would be like you saw a film like where it's actually like they're taking it very seriously. You know what I mean? And the acting is supposed to be legit. This is more just like a parody, and it's just like girls in little space costumes. It looks like a very cheap episode of. Actually, not okay. I was gonna say a cheap episode of Star Trek. The original Star Trek series is a cheap version of Star Trek. Star Trek is a cheap version of Star Trek. If you look back at the old 1960s TV show with George Takei as Sulu and William Shatner as Captain Kirk, which is kind of what this film looks like. It's kind of like a Star Trek kind of vibe because they all go to this planet, which is each episode of the original Star Trek series. If you've ever seen it, or if you've never seen it, it's actually they just go to different planets and stuff like that. And they discover new worlds, as they say in the opening monologue. But this is supposed to be probably more like a Star Trek parody. I'm kind of seeing that now. It's a sexy film. I mean, if you're into girls making out with other girls, stuff like that. I'm not a big lesbian porn fan. I like to kind of have a man in the film so I can kind of insert myself into the fun, but they kind of like, I guess he shows up, the dude shows up at certain points and stuff like that. Okay, so you got them rubbing their pussies and they got like, they're chained up together, which is kind of hot, and they're dancing around, and like, I like to watch, you like to watch girls dance at the club, don't you? And so a lot of girls, and they're all naked, so they're all like wearing, like, you can see their butts, you can't see their pussies, they have underwear on, but the evil guy comes with like at the very end of the film with a gun, and I think he's about to make them like have sex with him forcefully, but you have to buy the whole film. So if you are into really watching long porno films, I'm sure, okay, if you have a girlfriend or something like that, or a wife, I think watching a long porno film would be like something actually still pretty cool to do because you can have sex for the whole hour and a half while you have this hot porno film in the background. So I can still see the need for that market. They're also just guys who like to take an hour and a half to jerk off, or they just like to watch pornographical films for an hour and a half. Some of these films, some people actually just want to have an experience and go with their girlfriend or go by themselves or go with their wife and go actually watch a porno called Space Sluts Get Fucked Hard. I think it would just be called Space Sluts, actually, if it was going to be in theaters. I don't know if the film would be called Space Sluts Get Fucked Hard by Big Cock Riley Reid Wednesday Park. I'm sure if it was like a new Star Wars film, they wouldn't call it like like uh Star Wars warriors get get revenge against evil imperial fascist empire. It would just be called Star Wars, which it is, right? You don't say the whole, but this one is like the funny thing about a lot of pornography films on Pornhub is it's not just the name of what the film was actually called while they were probably shooting it. Now it's just you got the name of the porn stars in the thing. It's like a YouTube video where it's like man farts on puppy, puppy is sad. You know what I mean? Um, and so it has the whole basically the whole description of it. These girls, I mean, the insides of their vaginas are all like, what do you call it? Sequestered, sequenced. So they got sequences all over their body. Oh, now they're making. Oh, they're making out with each other. Yeah, it's actually it's like I said, it's not the whole film. It's just a. Oh, now there's like a bondage thing going. Okay, I'm still skipping around. It's like a bondage thing where he captures them and they're all chained up and he's like leading them back to their lair at one point. It's kind of like I don't know if you watch the whole 5 minutes and 14 seconds. It's mostly a lot of music intercut with a little bit of storyline. But the hot thing is that he captures them and he's gonna like force them to have sex with them. So if you're into that kind of like control rape sort of fantasy, I guess, or whatever, or the submission stuff, then this new video would be hot to you. And if you like Riley Reid, definitely hot, of course. All these girls have very small titties, so I don't know if you're an ass man, it might not be the video for you. But the guy doesn't even have. I mean, I don't know if he pulls down his pants at the end of the video. He's not really a shower. He's probably definitely a grower, because his penis was like probably about as long as mine. Well, that's saying something that a porn star's dick is at least 5.5 inches just soft, because my dick is like an inch and a half just when it's soft. I'm gonna sign this off. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the history of pornography. If I'm gonna be doing a serious pornography report, I'm gonna use more of my history major skills and my skills as a social scientist rather than my stand-up comedian skills. So that's kind of where my brain goes, more into my political, historical, philosophical side. So I end up giving it a whole history of pornography. Okay. I love all you guys. I love you actives, I love you alums, and I love you P-Bros. I hope you enjoyed this history of the world of pornography, told through Space Sluts Get Fucked Hard by Big Cock Riley Reid Wednesday Parker.